What's good, YouTube, man? And today, got something for our Tower of Gods, folks, man. We're going to be talking about your boy, Mazino, however you want to pronounce it. You know, um, TLDR or warning, spoiler warning, whatever. I'm going to try to not spoil too much stuff, but if you are only an anime only watcher and you haven't read the webcomic or web novel, webtoons comic, sorry, then be warned, you can potentially get spoiled with some things. Nothing really too crazy in my opinion. Not gonna say go deep into the story or anything like that, but we just want to have a little chat about how his character is handled in the story. And right now, if you're like I said, if you're up to like the webtoon comics, like they're doing a spinoff series for him right now. So we're kind of getting a backstory for him, basically showing him like you get to see his birth, you get to see him come into the tower because Urk is like Bam, and he's not from the tower. So he's from outside the tower. So that's one of the things that's like people always compare them to, and like the story makes it a point to like harp on their relationship because of that, right? And we saw their their meeting in season 2 and stuff like that. But the main thing I want to talk about is just like how OP characters are usually handled and how Urk is used. And I think it's very interesting because a lot of characters like they'll compare characters like to Gojo or Kakashi in early Naruto is they're like seen as characters that are like, oh, these characters are up here. They're like the safety valve characters for any time shit hits the fan. Don't worry, these two can come in and save the day. Now, granted, Kakashi not really isn't really like that. Like just early as in the Land of Waves arc, you see him run into like Zabuza and Haku. So you kind of get to see like that his threshold get hit, and then of course he gets scared by Orochimaru and whatnot. With Gojo, it's a little bit different because Gojo is literally the pinnacle of the strength for the JJK universe outside of Sukuna. So it's a lot more comparable, but still not completely because the way JJK goes about it is obviously they seal Gojo. So that way, because it makes it hard for the story to progress when you have a character so powerful just just there next to the plot. So okay, anytime Yuji, Megami, and the girl who's no longer with us, anytime they're like in a dire situation, what's stopping Gojo from just showing up and saving the day, right? So they went the route of sealing him, and I think the most relatable person is gonna be, and I'm mad because I don't think I had it on my ranking of 114 anime, is Magi, and the character I'm referencing will be Sinbad, and he kind of has the same like upbringing, kind of. Both characters, and Gojo has this kind of as well. Like when it's referenced when Gojo was born, the balance of the world shifted, right? Well, when Sinbad was born, the Ryuk, I think that's how you say it, is like it's their like energy source. It's like they're kind of like their power, not their power system, but like it's kind of like how spiritual pressure or chakra is, and with the Bleach and the Naruto, they just said like he was blessed with the Ryuk, like the Ryuk just sung like when he was born, like all like the powerful prominent figures could tell like there was a shift in the world whenever Sinbad was born. And he has a, if you're interested in it, if you don't want to watch Magi, like the main series, they do have just a Sinbad Adventures anime. Personally, I think you can watch it and you don't have to actually watch like the entire Magi. It's just like I think it's either 12 or 24 episodes, so it's not a bad watch, right? And you don't have to be well versed in the lore. They do a pretty decent job of explaining it to you. But I haven't read all of this Magi manga, but I do know bits and pieces about like who Sinbad, like how Sinbad goes outside of how he's portrayed. But I think the best representation to Uruk is Sinbad. And the reason I say that is both characters are so undeniably above everything that we see in the story that it becomes hard to like take anything serious when they're on the when they're in the screen, like when they're on like the stage. It's like, oh shit, the person's on the stage, so there's not really any dire threats, because Witchcock can just step in and save the day. But I think what's cool about it is both these characters, they don't have the generic like, oh, I'm just gonna ride with MC. Granted, they do still ride with the MC when most times call like when a lot of times happen, right? But they don't. He doesn't like just because Eric's there doesn't mean, oh, he's automatically riding with exactly what Bond's trying to do, right? And I think what's kind of cool that the author does, and a lot of people kind of be a little subjective about it, like they get a little touchy about it, is Eric's a simp. He's a straight simp, and I think that's like the niche they give him is like, oh, this princess just says, hey, Eric, do this for me, and oh, I owe you a favor, I love you, blah blah blah, and he just goes to do it, right? But he doesn't compromise his morals completely, right? And this is gonna be kind of a spoiler, but he's asked to stop people from fighting two giant powerful people from fighting, right? And he doesn't care to like he doesn't want to kill either one, right? Even though they are hell bent on having a death match, but he's just like cemented himself in between. And was like, hey, both of you guys gonna stop, and if you guys need a fight, both of y'all can come fight me right now. So I think that he doesn't like he still cares about what the MC, because he obviously likes the MC on Bomb, and he cares about him and whatnot, but he doesn't compromise. He still has his own goal. His own goal is just separate from the one that Bomb and the rest of the main cast is on. So I like that. And the same way with Sinbad, he has a different morale, like he's kind of like a moral gray character. Like he doesn't always do everything that's like considered the right, like just full way to do things. But and you can't really, I won't really say the same thing for Urek, but from what everything we see of Urek, he's kind of like a balancing act. But what the author does is they kind of they kind of humble him. They don't ever have him lose, right? He's never losing in a fight. He's always clearly the more powerful person whenever like it comes down to it. But what the author does is he puts little situational things happen, like, oh, well, he's up against a magic user, and so he's literally punching magic, and the magic user is literally like, well, the fuck, you shouldn't be able to punch a magic, just punch it with your bare fist, right? And there's that little comedic relief, but then like it also opens the door for like, oh, well, magic lets him be able to just get away from Urk. And that's kind of what happens. Like, oh, I can just teleport Urk to this different dimension as I escape. Now Urk can just punches out of it, right? But it's still like it gives a little bit of attention. And that guy that was trying to get away was able to accomplish what he needed to accomplish, and still not actually have to fight Urk. And Urk still doesn't accomplish everything. And that's the thing is like Urk in one arc, he literally shows up on a battlefield, like a huge battlefield, like multiple fucking big names fighting, and this scene just shifts, and it's like all eyes on him, right? So much to the point where one faction just said, "Fuck this, we out." Like everybody just left. He's like, "Hey, nah, we can't fight that guy," and they did, right? But then there's other cases where it's like he can't intercept everything, and I think you can kind of you can kind of complain that it's really just a product of like how many characters there are and how many conflicts and like side stories that are going on in the same like arc. But there's not like he can't be everywhere, so therefore like there still is like stakes. Granted, a big complaint with like the recent chapters before the hiatus or before the side story started, because right now we're on hiatus from the main story, but the Urk story is going on just while we were on hiatus. but a lot of complaints was like a lot of characters don't really die, or like we keep weak characters around, and we'll kill stronger characters that probably could have been worth more. So, but just having Urk around, I feel like is just very different. You know, It's not the age old. Oh man, super powerful OP guy siding with the MC. Okay, how do we get rid of the OP guy? Well, we just got a power cliff. We got a power cliff the rest of the cast to go over him. But no, they don't do that. They don't go that route, and I don't foresee them going that route. I mean, this story is pretty long, and they haven't power clipped him yet. Not to say it won't happen, but I think the way Eric is set up is really nice. But really just wanted to sit here and just chat about like what like the thoughts are of Eric. Is like, do you like him as a character? Do you like him in the story being so OP? I personally think Eric as a character, the author writes him differently. Like in the Hell Floor arc, he is really like he gives off like this really wise like mentor, like this guy's been there, he's been around the block, you know what I'm saying? He knows what he's talking about. But then when you see him in like later arcs, they kind of like dumb him down. They give him like the Dragon Ball Super Goku effect, where like, yeah, this guy's OP, right? But he ain't all the way there in the head, you know what I'm saying? Not like he's dumb, but it's just like he goofs off, right? And so, but one thing you can always admit is my boy Will Oriform. And now I'm wondering, it's gonna take forever for the anime to ever reach to the part where the hell we're at in the fucking webtoon right now. But that man Oriforms, this man literally showed up with some J's on. I think it was some ones, or no, some foes. It's some foes. He came up there on some foes, shirt off, tattoo rocking out, and with a hat to the back, showed up on the battlefield, and that's the scene I'm talking about where he just like made everybody just dip. Like one faction just dipped. They said, "Nah, we ain't fighting this guy." So, but all this video was is really just a quick little chat on how I think OP characters are handled, and if they're good for the story, and if they are good for the story, what are they good for? Why exactly are they good? Are they bad for the story? Like obviously I said, like sometimes the stakes are bad and you have to like just get rid of the character like sit by sealing them. But then also I feel like the better way of going about it is how Magi and Tower of God goes about it, where they make the character not really aligned with the MC. They kind of have their own motivational goals and they have their own way of achieving justice, or whatever path you want to call it they're going on. Whatever they deem is like the correct way to live, or the correct way for the society or universe to go about. But yeah, man, y'all let me know. Do y'all like Urk? Do y'all not really like him? What could you want to see improved about him, or just you know whatever. But also check out Magi. I really recommend Sinbad. I like him as a character a lot. He's really cool. He's a really nice like breath of fresh air, especially if you watched Magi, like the actual main show. I felt like he just like whenever he showed up on camera, he just stole the scene. And I feel like Gojo does that too with the main cast and JJK. So, and that could be a bad thing because obviously, like you're like, oh man, I want if he's not gonna be the main character, then don't give him all the aura. You know what I'm saying? Don't let him take everything. But sometimes I think that's cool. Is you get that breath of fresh air where character shows up, you want to see more of them, right? But they just can't oversell their welcome if they're not gonna be the main character. But y'all be good, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.